A great man once said that the secret to making a fortune in business was knowing when to delegate time-consuming tasks to others.
What great man said that?
I did just now. Weren't you listening?
I think you also said, let's build a sweatshop at one time.
You're listening to the Goblin Goldcast with Dex and Mac. I got mouths to feed, so let's get this thing started. Time is money, friend.
Hello, Azeroth! You're listening to the Goblin Goldcast, your guide to making gold in the World of Warcraft. This is episode 21. I'm your host, Mac, coming to you from what has become a very chilly Anchorage, Alaska. This week, we wanted to spare no expense and bring you the best co-host that money could buy. Instead, due to our limited budget, we've got this aging guy on Skype from Napa, California, my co-host, Dex. How you doing down there this week, Dex?
I'm getting older by the day.
I know. You've got a birthday coming up.
I am catching up with you. This is the birthday episode. Technically, by the time everybody hears it, it'll be my birthday, but not quite my birthday yet, so you're still the old man on the air here.
Well, I've got your birthday gift that's going down. I made a list last year of what you wanted, and I do have a walker set out for you.
Oh, cool. Cool. I could definitely use that, I think.
I figured chasing after your daughter's boyfriends as she gets older, you know. Oh, wait. You asked for Johnny Walker, not a walker. I think I've got this wrong.
Oh, man. Come on, man. My daughter's 10 years old, man. It's going to be another 20 years before she's dating. So,
like I said, you'll be in your walker chasing after her.
Okay, well, I'm going to have to make a phone call and ask your daughters to give you a little extra hell this week. I'm sure, and they'll do that for me, I think, too.
Probably gladly. Well, this week our topic is going to be something we had set up a few weeks ago. We asked listeners to send in submissions of what they would like to hear. And Bayou Billy sent in. He was the one who sent in the letter that we liked the best, had the best information. He wanted to hear what gold making tools we used for playing the game. So we're going to go over that this week. And but before we do that, Dex, how was your week in WoW?
Well, it wasn't too bad. You know, I've got a couple of new things in front of me that I'm planning on doing. I'm trying to get serious about my mount collecting again, so I'm going back and trying to hit some of the raid and dungeon mounts that I don't have, knock some of those out. And I've also decided that I'm going to make a push to try to hit that 10 million in liquid gold by the end of the year. And it's a little bit of a challenge. I'm only a little bit more than halfway there, so that's a lot to make. Almost 5 million in a month is going to be it's going to be a challenge. But I have a few things up my sleeve. I've been testing some new gold making methods. I'm not prepared to talk about at this point.
Not even with your co-host.
No. We're talking about real early stages, and I'm looking at a few things that may or may not be worth doing.
And you don't want me to laugh about them if they fail.
Well, yeah, it's not ready for prime time yet. So kind of like you doing the opening.
I know, Jiminy Christmas.
I want to be nice, but I was cringing. I mean, it was. I couldn't help but think, shouldn't I be doing this? And
well, we did this for his birthday. He requested it. I think he did it so he could make fun of me.
I did. I'm just hoping that I'm going to get one of two types of letters. I'm either going to get the letters that say, "Oh my God, Dex, you got to take this back over next week." Hopefully 22 is going to be better. Oh, my God. Or I'll either get that kind of letter or I'll get the letter, wow, you should have Mac do the opening from now on.
Oh, no.
And so I
like our original format.
Well, I mean, we can mix it up. I could do everything that you do. What do you do? You say I could do everything that you do, and you could do everything that I do. Which means that you're going to have a busy day tomorrow editing this thing.
No, I think we've already discussed there are certain things that you do better than I do, and editing is definitely one of them.
I don't want to be good at that. In fact, I'm not really very good at it. I mean, I got the pitch all wrong on your voice last, a while back, and
Oh.
I make mistakes. So.
As long as you acknowledge that, we've got it on tape. Of course, you'll probably edit that out.
No, I'll leave that in. I'll definitely leave that in. I know you're expecting it to be gone now. No. Anyway, So I've been. That's what I've been pretty much up to. What about you? What's your week look like? I'm sure you've been a lot busier in game than me. I've been still on a little bit more limited schedule as far as what I can do.
I did get my hidden artifact power weapon from a world boss from my DK, so I got that one out of the way. Yay!
You got the
hidden artifact appearance.
Okay.
The appearance, power,
Yeah.
Rented lips.
Right.
It's been cold here in Anchorage the last couple of weeks. Single digits. It's warmed up tonight. It was 8 degrees Fahrenheit earlier today.
Yeah.
Got dark, and I saw the clouds coming in, and now I think it's up to like 15, and we're expecting a little snow tonight. So, yay.
Yeah, but for anybody who lives somewhere that has even a little bit of humidity, understand that temperatures like that in Alaska are not like if you got temperatures like that in a high humidity area. Not at all. I remember I lived there for a little while, and
Yep.
I was really surprised that first really cold day that we had. I was shocked when you told me how cold it was, because it wasn't like back home where we have enough humidity that if it got to that temperature, it would get you all the way to the bone. But. Right.
Well, the humidity kind of leaves the air, and you don't feel it as much, but it is rather chilly. I like it when it's down towards the 10, 15 degree when it starts snowing, because then snow doesn't become clumped up and icy on the roads. It just kind of floats around, and roads are a little easier to drive on. But other than that, finally. Prices are back up on Dalaran from Goblin Gliders. I got back into that market. Yay. Well, with all of the components of the Goblin Gliders being priced so high, the price I talked to you about earlier that I put up on the auction house, I've already sold 100 of the 200 I put up. So.
Right.
They've got that glitch back in the game where when when you've got stuff in the mailbox, it doesn't appear on your, or at least it isn't appearing on my screen again. So I'll go. I went over, popped a mailbox to send something to one of my tunes, and it was like, oh, I got stuff in there, and it's full, and it's still full, and it's still full.
Right.
So.
Yeah. Now is that the same bug that I was dealing with before, where my items would sell in the auction house, but they wouldn't show up in the mailbox, and they wouldn't show up in my auction as sold either. They would be gone.
No, I was having this issue earlier when I'd log on the game originally, and I would get the little icon showing that I had items in my mailbox. I'd go over, and I'd get the message that my mailbox was full. I'd empty all the items out, and then step away from it. You've got to wait a few seconds for it to refresh. But I wouldn't get the message saying, I wouldn't get on the screen showing that there's an item still in your mailbox. But you'd go open the mailbox back up, it's full again. And now I'm not even getting the icon showing that I've got anything in my mailbox. I've just walked up to the mailbox and poof, there's stuff in it. It's like, oh, crud. So maybe it's something they'll fix here shortly. I know they did some patches earlier today.
Right, and are you using, I already know the answer to this, I think, but are you using a mailbox add-on?
Why would I use a mailbox add-on?
I forgot who I was talking to for a moment. But, I haven't seen that glitch myself, but I haven't been in yet today, so.
Well, you and I also discovered this week that they have a night, I guess they've decided a way to fix that plow that doesn't work at Half Hill by removing it. I mean, you do the quest, you don't get the plow anymore, but you still spend the 80 gold for the plow.
Yeah, it's a new gold sink. They're getting creative with their gold sink. Hey, we've got a bug here where this thing doesn't work. I know. We'll just remove it from the game, and people will buy it over and over again before they figure out that it's not showing up in their inventory.
That never did show up in my inventory. But
how many times did you buy it? I'm just curious.
Just the once.
Okay.
Fool me once, shame on you.
Yeah. Well.
Fool me twice. I've had no. Never mind.
So, how many legendaries have you gotten this week?
I've just got the one. However, my guild hall. I had the resources and started getting it set up so I can get my second legendary appearance. So maybe that'll open it up and allow me to get another legendary on that tune.
Wow, you got a guild hall?
I
didn't know they put those in the game yet. People are going to be really excited. You heard it here first on the Goblin Goldcast. Guild halls are a thing.
Class hall.
Oh, class hall.
Okay.
No way I could edit that and fix it for you, so sorry.
Thanks, Dax.
Way to bury the lead about the new guild halls that we have now. So, is that? I mean, you sending code to somebody in development?
Please give us a guild hall. Yes. No. With a hot tub. No, spa. Sorry.
Anything else this week that you were up to?
No, that's pretty much it. Leveling, like I said, I've got my 3 110s working on a 4th and 5th 110. You know me, I can't ever stick with just one tune.
Before we get into this week's topic, I wanted to mention something new I've been working on this last week. I've been putting together these different T-shirt designs and other type of swag designs for, it's about making gold in World of Warcraft. And, these designs, once they're finished, they can be used, for T-shirts or coffee mugs or for shot glasses, for, what.
I was going to say, you left me out.
I did leave you out. But once I get them done, they'll be available for purchase, in the near future. Getting close to being done with a couple of them. But, I think I think some of you really like what we've got in the works here. It should give you a good laugh, and at the same time, let you make a little statement about being a gold-making goblin in World of Warcraft. But anyway, once they're ready, we'll mention them in future episodes and put it out on social media. And purchasing these from our website will go a long way towards supporting the show. So I hope you'll take a look at what we come up with, and as always, let us know what you think, because that's important to us. If you like the designs that we came up with, let us know that. If you think we could have done things a little differently, tell us that. And, like I said, we appreciate any kind of support you can give us to help us keep the show ongoing for as long as we can.
And this week's topic was brought to us by Bayou Billy. He sent us an email asking about ideas for using in-game items and mechanics that can make it easier to farm gold, and he made some good suggestions, and we'll add those to the conversation.
And the topic I wanted to expand on his suggestion a little bit, and add a little bit more to it. The general idea was awesome. So, today's topic is going to be about tools for gold making, just tools in general. And, there are many tools available to us that will advance our gold making efforts by simplifying, accelerating, delegating, and even eliminating certain tasks. Let's talk about these tools by category. The first category I wanted to talk about is add-ons. We did a whole show about add-ons, so I don't want to spend too much time on this today.
And about how deficient Mac is on using add-ons.
I think we've definitely covered that a few times. It's one of those glaring things that does keep popping up. But if you want, more in depth on add-ons themselves, more than what we're going to cover here, I suggest you go and see our episode number 11, where we really go into that a lot deeper, and we go add-on by add-on. I will say that add-ons make things much easier on you, even if you just get the Undermine journal. But I know, Mac, you've got the Undermine journal. At least you did that.
I do use that extensively, yes.
But having add-ons to help you sell in the auction house, mass mail items, identify price trends, realm hop, track gathering nodes, just to mention a few, they'll make you wonder how you survived without them, and how Mac continues to survive without them.
I'm using GatherMate now too, so there we go.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, we did go in depth on that, so I don't want to go too crazy on this and waste too much time of our show on it. But add-ons are a major tool, and you can shorten the amount of time that it takes to do so many tasks, especially things that you're repeating over and over again. So I do recommend adding that to your toolbox. The second thing that we want to talk about is record keeping, and I know we've also discussed that a bit. In fact, I think I covered a bit of that on last week's show, as a matter of fact. Mm-hmm. But let's not forget that good record keeping saves time and helps you make good decisions. It's also fun to look back after a few months and see how much gold you've made over time. It's very satisfying. Just a little anecdote about that. I was keeping pretty extensive records for a while. I've relaxed my records a bit, but for about 6 months, I was keeping real tight records. And it was fun to go back to the very beginning of my record keeping and see that I had a fraction of the gold that I had 6 months later. I started with a fraction of the gold, and just watching how it grew. And there are certain points where it would grow in fairly large jumps, and I could see where, I had a couple of big wins in one way or another. But a lot of it was steady growth, and that makes it all seem worth it when you take a look and see that.
Well, there's nothing more frustrating than I have a notebook that I keep right next to the computer where I write down stuff. And like I'll be out gathering and I'll find an area where there's a lot of herbs or something, and I'll find a little special place. It's like, wow, this is fantastic. And I'll forget to write down the exact coordinates. The next day I'll go back without flying, and it's like, how in the heck did I get to that place? And so
you know what that makes me think of is it would be an awesome little addition to MMOs in general if you had something that you get up in the morning after playing the night before, and it's like the rewind button where you could rewind and at 10 times normal speed or whatever, it would show you everything that you did the night before. You could call it the drunk rewind button or whatever.
Can't you do that with like Fraps?
Yeah, if you make it record, yeah. But just something in game to where you could say, you know what, I can't remember where I went for such and such yesterday. Let me hit the rewind button and it'll kind of a review. And
why was I standing in place for a half an hour there?
I think for you though, it would feel like that somebody was following you around to the clubs and recording you, asking light posts to dance after you got drunk and things like that.
I don't think so.
Yeah, back in the day. Yeah, but no, record keeping is awesome. The one time you don't, like you said, you keep a notebook there. The one time you don't write down something like that, it's going to bug the hell out of you. What was that? Where did I go? Where did I hear about this?
Well, it would take 10 seconds to look down at a pad of paper and go, oh, yeah, that's where I was. It takes an hour of research online going, where in the heck was I? Yeah.
And what's funny is a lot, and not just with WoW, but with a lot of things, I've found this to be true. You'll stumble upon something, maybe it'll be a website that I wanted to go to for whatever reason, and I'll think to myself at the time, oh wow, I'm definitely going to remember the name of this. This was cool. I won't forget this. And then you forget because something else happens, that catches your attention.
Or you get a little older.
Yeah, there's that, and it's like, I mean, seriously, it's not just WoW, it's other things. I mean, you'll be surfing around on the web, and you'll find this website, and it's like, can't remember the name of the website. It was like something to do with midgets and oh yeah. No, I gotta wait till my wife leaves to watch that. And then and then you realize why you didn't write it down on the pad of paper that she would walk into the room and see. But anyway, that is just a made up example that has no basis in reality whatsoever. In case my wife ever listens to this, so. But yeah, so record keeping is awesome. It will save you tons of time, and like I said, very satisfying when you look back and you realize just how far you've come from meager beginnings of gold making and all of that. But anyway, moving on from there, we could talk about hardware, and hardware is going to be bigger for some people than others. I use a Logitech G510S keyboard that has programmable G keys, or like F keys, but they're extra keys. And I can assign in-game macros to them where they're really convenient on the left-hand side of my keyboard. And, that's a nice thing. I also have a Razer mouse that has programmable keys that I don't currently use because I kept, with my thumb, I kept bumping them by mistake, so I turned them off.
I've got the programmable mouse. I just don't want to learn how to program it, so...
They're really easy to program. In fact, what most people do, like mine has the keys 1 through 12 that correspond with your keyboard keys, number 1 all the way through the plus equals, and so you can set up your regular macro hotkeys to match up with that. But the problem that I have with that is where I have really large hands, and my thumb sits over the top of those buttons, and it's real easy for me to with bare paws to bump things that I don't intend on. It's like I got oven mitts on, and I'm knocking things over left and right with my hands anyway. So
well, I started I've got 11 buttons on mine. I started picking it up and looking at it, and then I realized I probably should set this down because we've had problems with my recordings the last couple months, and I don't want to bump something and have it shut off.
Don't hit any keys while we're recording. We're not doing this one over again.
I've set the mouse down. Step away from the mouse. Yeah.
You actually did your intro in one take. I couldn't believe it.
Oh, it's that ADD. We start talking, and look, a squirrel.
Another piece of hardware that some people run are dual monitors, and I used to do that, and it was very useful. I don't like window to the game to be all cluttered with UI, but my UI is pretty clean now, and so I don't really need it anymore. I've just the type of UI that I run keeps everything on thin little lines. Most everything's at the top of the screen, and I don't have a whole lot going on. I've seen some people that I really respect, by the way, that put out really nice YouTube videos on various things, and I look at their UI and I think, oh my God, how can they stand all that in the middle of the screen all the time? Everything blocking their view, and all you see is this big eruption of numbers everywhere and things bouncing around and blocking the view, and it's what they're used to. But if I had something like that, I would run dual monitors, and I would have all of that on the second monitor, so it was out of my way. Yeah, so that's another thing that's that you can have on that. And while all of this hardware stuff, it's not as important as a lot of the other tools for gold making. But having a hardware system that fits you, it'll certainly give you an edge, I think. So that brings us to in-game items, and this is a big one.
I think we can go over a couple of them that Bayou Billy gave us.
Oh, absolutely. And the list of in-game items to help with gold making is huge. So we'll try to cover as many as we can. So why don't you go ahead and hit some of those?
Yeah, one of the items that he mentioned that I use, I know you use, is the Tundra Mammoth from Old Dalaran or New Dalaran. It's great when you're farming content. If you're trying to get rid of a bunch of gray items or have to repair from taking damage, you can use that. I use that. One of the new items that's available, engineer made, if you're in a dungeon, you can't pop up the Tundra Mammoth, is that new auto hammer that's available. Pop it up, and it's just like a repair bot right inside the dungeon. Boop.
Oh, yeah. Yep, definitely. And, the Tundra, the Traveler's Mammoth that you mentioned, that's a staple right there. I mean, before people had that, I mean, I remember there was a mutual in-game friend of ours who was the first one that we knew that bought that thing. And we couldn't believe that he spent $20K on that. I mean, it was, now keep in mind, this is a guy who has never had more than a 10th or even a 20th of the amount of gold that I have. But I considered it a huge expenditure. And it was at a time when he probably spent every dime he had on it. And he wanted it that bad. And he saved up and he got it at a time when I couldn't justify the cost of it. And now I don't know how I live without it. I use it all the time.
Oh, it's fantastic for repairs and things like that. Oh, my word.
Yeah. So priorities, And
I get spoiled because especially on my rogue where I'm playing my engineer. Having Jeeves, being able to pop him up every once in a while, you're in the dungeon or whatever, you have access to your bank, you have access to repair, you buy and sell. A similar thing to the Tundra Mammoth. So engineers kind of get spoiled.
Oh, yeah. And, you mentioned the anvils. I don't think you mentioned engineering mailbox.
Oh, yeah. You've got the Maul E. You got the thermal anvil is another one if you're out there collecting ore. You get It takes X number of ore to make each bar. You can pop that out if you run out of bag space.
Right. You mentioned, I think you already mentioned Jeeves. Which you did mention Jeeves, right?
I did mention Jeeves.
Yeah, Jeeves is another big one. And let's see, you've got you got the Looterang if you're in the right expansion for that. I'm not bitter.
Yeah.
Or anything. It was.
I am. I had it where I was able to usefully use it for about a month before they ganked.
There were two items that they completely ruined. That I can tell you right off the top of my head that do not make sense to me. It doesn't make sense to me. The Looterang, how they made it so it would only work in the expansion that you got it in. Not the expansion that you got it in and every expansion prior to that. I mean, it would have been one thing to say, okay, it's not going to work beyond the point of where it was introduced. Why in the world would you isolate it just to the expansion that you got it in? And the other one that they did that to, I can't remember the name of it, but it was a Mist of Pandaria item, and it was like a horn or an idol or something. I can't remember what it was now because the day I got it, I'd been trying to get it for a while, and the day I got it was like the day after it was nerfed, and I didn't know it had been nerfed. The way it worked was kind of like how the monks.
Was that Black Ox? What is the name of that statue?
Black Ox statue that the monk uses. It works like that. So for like 40 yards, it will attract everything and aggro everything to it. So it was a great item that you could go into a dungeon and set it down in the middle and sit there in the middle and just destroy things when you're farming a dungeon for trash and running out and resetting. It was an awesome combination using that with the Looterang. You just boom, kill everything, hit the Looterang, loot everything, run out, pop your Tundra Mammoth if you need to sell stuff. Hopefully you've emptied your bags before you went in. Yeah, I'm hitting you on that one again. But yeah, it was really a quality of life thing. That they had no reason to do that, no reason to ruin it. Well, and when you compare that to what happened with the Water Strider, I don't know if you remember this, But when they were first talking about Legion, and it was when it was first going into beta, they wanted the Water Striders. You got one in Mists, and there was another one in Draenor, and they were going to make it so that they didn't work in Legion. Right. They were going to work everywhere else, but they were going to make it so it didn't work in Legion. And people threw a fit because of how long it took to get those things. And, I watched that. I was like, okay, I could kind of see how they could say, yeah, if you have a Water Strider, you're going to be able to skip over all these areas. And, there's a reason why we don't have flying right away. And you're going to, you're going to undo that whole reason that we don't have flying. We want you to have to go through and, get stuck on the geometry because that's fun. And
get thrown into a hole that you
run through, and yeah, it's you're supposed to get stuck on a rock that you can't even see. That's part of the fun. In fact, that's most of the fun. You don't really want a Water Strider. You think you do, but you don't. And so anyway, there was the big outcry, and then all of a sudden, okay, Water Striders are gonna work. And I thought to myself, where were all these people about the Looterang? I mean, the Looterang that really wouldn't have mattered at all. Okay, all right. Our next show is gonna be called Looterang and why Dex is gonna eternally bitch about it. I can devote a whole show to bitching about the Looterang.
I've listened to whole nights of it, folks.
It's why?
Well, something that does go hand in hand with not being able to loot is being able to have larger bags. And I know they've kind of fixed this now, where you can assign different bags to do different things. But I do like the cooking bags, the advanced refrigeration unit, the portable refrigeration, 32 slot or 30, and the other one's a 36 slot for collecting food and things like that.
Right.
They're bigger than some of the bags you've got out there now. The Lure Masters tackle box, for those who like fishing and being able to collect fish, there you can make a lot of gold in Legion fishing.
If you can stay awake.
I can stay awake.
We mentioned about I mentioned about the Water Strider. That's another thing that that's a great tool. That can help you with your gold making, anything to help you get around. And the Sky Golem. I don't know if you've mentioned the Sky Golem yet. I should probably listen when you're talking too. But the Sky Golem for picking herbs. It's one of the reasons why Mac is starting to make his fortune now, is because of how popular they are for that and how good they are for gold making.
I still don't have one. I sell all of my make.
Yeah, I don't know. I would love to just really rip on you for that.
I've got to make a third engineer, but then I'll probably just sell that one.
I'd really love to really take a shot at you for that, but the truth is, if at the time when I got mine, if they were so overpriced like they are right now, I think I'd be selling them too and saying, you know what, when the price calms down, then I'll get mine. I can wait. I think I would do that because I am kind of cheap when it comes to things like that. I don't spend gold on a lot of things that people that have a lot less gold wouldn't think twice about.
I'm coming up on the 300K mark on Whisperwind, a server that I literally play like 10 minutes a day on. I may end up not selling the Sky Golem and using it there because it carries across my battle net. But that was my original intent.
I don't want to digress too far on this, but you presented an opportunity for me to ask a question on that. I know you're not really playing on Whisperwind. You couldn't possibly have time to play very much on Whisperwind right now.
No.
So if you've got almost 300K?
Yes.
So what are your plans? Are your plans to keep money there and kind of establish a little gold making operation there, or are you going to try to repatriate that money back to Dalaran?
I've got the gold there in case I want to be able to move money if I see something on the auction house that like a battle pet that's cheap, because they have some really weird prices over there sometimes.
They do on mounts. They're really low in price on mounts.
Right. That was the initial intent, and the second is on a server I'm not playing for. If I want to get tokens, I can use gold from the server I don't play on and use tokens there and leave myself flush over on the other server.
Okay, all right. I wasn't aware that you were buying tokens with gold.
I haven't yet, but I'm
well now that you can use it for Blizzard balance, now you're probably going to want tokens.
I'm still looking at. Yep.
Yeah. So yeah, that's a way to do it. I mean, for me, I have less gold on Whisperwind than you do. I only have probably about 160, 170K over there, something like that. So I have considerably less than you have there, and I actually made an effort to move gold to there so that I could buy mounts. I made a deal with somebody that I know that buys tokens that I would that somebody that plays on Whisperwind, that they give me the gold on Whisperwind, and I give them the gold on one of my other servers, and they get their token there that way, and it allows me to move gold. Which, since I've mentioned that, if any of you know somebody who's in a similar situation, that is a way that you can move gold. Somebody, you got to have a situation. This person I've known their entire life, so they trust me, and it has to be somebody that you have trust built up with.
Right.
But if they're willing to have you buy their token on the server that you have gold on, and for them to give you the gold on the server you don't have any established presence, it is a way to expand out without battle pets. So something to think about.
Just another option.
We didn't yet mention Hearthstones. You now have 3 different Hearthstones. The last 2 expansions have each given you a new Hearthstone, and it seems like this is going to be the new trend. 5 expansions from now, we're gonna have 8 Hearthstones in our bags.
We'll need a bag just for our Hearthstones.
We'll need a Hearthstone key ring.
Well, it'd be nice if they'd make the Hearthstone, and they've put everything else in a toy box. Why don't they just do that? Turn your Hearthstone into a toy.
Now that there are 3 of them, it's so it'll be a click, a right click with a drop down for all the choices, on one Hearthstone probably. But anyway, now you can set because you go to your garrison, you go to Dalaran. When you're in Dalaran, you've got all the portals there. It really frees up that regular Hearthstone to be set in a more out of the way place that you normally wouldn't use it in. So that's a big tool, I think, now.
Right.
So that's something to think about.
He did mention that. The other thing that Bayou Millie mentioned was the guild cloaks, the ones that allow you to teleport to Ogremar or Stormwind if you're Alliance. 4-hour cooldown, I think, on them. But I mean, at the end of the night, you want to go back to your home city. Psst,
yeah, I think the cooldown depends on which one you have.
I think there's 3 different levels of them.
Yeah, and the highest level one has, I think, only a 2-hour cooldown on it, something like that. I haven't used mine in so long, but yeah, you've got that. Did we mention the artifact fishing pole? Artifact fishing pole has some abilities on it as well,
right.
that can be used if you want to go to the trouble of if you love fishing so much that you're going to get the artifact fishing pole.
I have.
And we mentioned the Traveler's Mammoth. There's also the more modern version of that one, the Yak.
The Yak. The only thing
has transmog.
Yeah, about to say the only thing the Yak has that's different is the transmog for a lot more gold.
Yeah, and I wouldn't have bought it just for the transmog, being able to transmog wherever you want. It's nice to have that because, unlike you, I enjoy transmog. But for me, it's another mount that I needed to get. It's another number too.
Well, it's one of those that I will eventually get. I want it to be a smaller portion of the gold I have than it is now.
Yeah. And we were talking about record keeping before and about how satisfying it is looking back on, how much your gold has grown. One of the things that I really enjoyed about looking back is looking at how much my gold had grown and at the same time saying, oh, yeah, and here are all the mounts that I actually bought with gold during all that time. And I can see that I wasn't just sitting there hoarding my gold. I was spending a lot of gold. And I was still coming ahead.
I spent a ton during Legion. And then played catch up, and I've spent a little bit more, but I'm trying. I've been hoarding a lot more lately.
Yeah. Are there any other end game items you think that we've neglected to mention? I mean, I know there are a lot of them that we haven't mentioned, but any that are on your list that you wanted to cover?
No, I think I've got most of those that I use just the extra bags just for extra bag space. Holy cow! And then it's also so nice to be able to just go right to that larger bag that if I'm mining. Oh, there's all the ore right there.
Yeah. The next thing I have on the list is macros, and macros can be a big tool. I love macros for saving time. I have this one that I use, and it's hard to describe on the just exactly what the script is on an audio show. But if people really want to see it, I can send it to you in an email. What to put in your macro. But it's a macro that resets instances on a hotkey. And so, you have your drop down. If you're running dungeons over and over again, you're running out and resetting it. I play on a PvP server most of my time. And a lot of times there's somebody waiting for you on the outside of that instance is trying to engage you. And even if you got the gear to take them out and all of that, you're wasting time. If you've got like a potion running for treasure chest or something, you want to be able to have that turnaround be really quick. And so I pop that hotkey, it resets instantly, and I pop right back out, and I'm barely out of the dungeon before I'm right back in there. And I used to also have one that disenchanted all my Jewelcraft stuff for the Serenite Shuffle back in the day in Wrath, and that one was huge because I made so much of that jewelry, and then had to disenchant it, and then sold all the disenchanted mats in the auction house. So the faster I could turn that stuff, the more gold I would make. It was for me when I was in it, there was an endless supply. So my only limitation was how fast can I craft. I had to buy the mats in the auction house, craft, disenchant, sell the end result back in the auction house. And there was an endless supply of the Serenite that I needed to start with, and I had constant buyers for the dust that I was selling in the auction house. So the only thing that was holding me back from making more gold was doing the process faster. So I was looking for anything to give me an edge to move through that stuff quicker. So macros can be huge. Do you have any macros in particular that stand out for you that you really like to use? Or
I use macros like I use add-ons.
Okay, all right. So
I've used a couple now and then, but nothing for the gold making.
Okay, I mean, you use the one that I use to reset instances, right?
No.
I'll have to get that one to you because
yes.
Once you use that one, you'll wonder why you ever did it the other way. Yep. It's so nice.
We've talked about it, and you've told me you were going to give me the information, but you never have. It's like dangling that carrot out there. I'll tell you.
Did I mention it to you before?
Oh yeah.
Oh. Well,
yeah. When I talked about getting ganked on the PvP server.
I lack follow through. What can I say? So the last thing that we have on the list here is a network of suppliers, and this is a big one for me. And this is also another one that most people have just, I think, ignored, and it's easy to ignore in the beginning. A great man once said that the secret to making a fortune in business was knowing when to delegate time-consuming tasks to others.
What great man said that?
I did just now. Weren't you listening?
I think you also said, let's build a sweatshop at one time. But
all right. Okay. It was another time, and, Anyway, at some point you're going to find it makes financial sense to pay others to do certain tasks for you. For example, and this illustrates the importance of good record keeping, like I was talking about before. If it takes you an hour to mine the amount of ore that you need for a venture that you're running, and let's say you can make $15K an hour doing something else, and you can pay someone $4K to mine that ore that you need and send it to you COD on a regular schedule, wouldn't you do it? And a lot of people just don't. They will actually spend the time, go out and mine that themselves. So anyway, let's take that to another level. Let's say, a gold making venture will make you $20K a day. And the venture requires a lot of work. Supplies have got to be gathered, profession combines have to be done.
So you're going to franchise out your gatherers.
Right. So, I mean, let's say on this venture, you've got, miscellaneous mats have to be farmed from dungeons, et cetera, et cetera.
They'll be protesting in the street. We want 15,000 gold an hour.
And don't you organize my sweatshop. We know how to deal with unions. I'm a union buster from way back. No. But okay, all right. I support unions in the real world, but no WoW unions, please.
I'm in a union in the real world, so.
Yeah. I used to be in the Teamsters once upon a time. But anyway,
you were the shop steward for a while, weren't you?
I was, and I didn't work and play well with others, but that's another story.
That's another show.
It's a show that I could never record. But anyway. So anyway, this example that I'm giving here, where you could make $20K a day, and you've got all these things that you need to do, various different things to achieve that $20K a day. Let's say you can pay a gatherer $4K to gather the herbs and ore that you need for this venture, and someone with the rare recipes that has the profession, the combines that you need to have done, they're willing to do those combines for you for $2K. And let's say another person's willing to run dungeons and collect all the miscellaneous items, the remaining items that you need from dungeons for $4K. So in this example, if all the items are mailed COD, your cost is $10K on a $20K venture, and you can make $10K for almost no effort or time. And once you've got your network of employees in place, of course, and you make sure they don't unionize. But anyway. And as a bonus, you still have all of that time available to you to do something else. So delegating tasks when possible can be very powerful in gold making. It's one of those things, if you've never done it, you probably haven't seen the power in it. But I guarantee you, all the big time gold makers, all the people that have tons and tons of gold, they've done this. They probably still do this. There was a time when I had a whole bunch of people sending me frostweed, tons and tons and tons of frostweed, and I was paying $1 per on frostweed. And I remember one farmer that I hired. He said, "How many do you need?" I said, "All of it." And he said, "You'll give me $1 a piece, no matter how many I send you." And I said, "Yep." And because I had a way to convert that into gold, I converted it into gold from a vendor. So it was a no-brainer. There was no situation to where I wasn't going to be able to give him $1 a piece. And this guy's sending me thousands and thousands of frostweed, and I think he was expecting some of it to bounce back on the COD, and never did. I always took it right away. And I got a little concerned when the whatchamacallit, the alchemy trinkets.
When they were going to drop the price, right?
They announced they were going to drop it. We didn't know what they were going to drop it to, and it was going for, at the time, for a little over 25 gold each, and they only dropped it to 21 and change, and it was like, whew. Yeah. And it was like, but the beauty of it was, I had farmers at the time that voluntarily lowered their prices. Oh, yeah, they're nerfing it. They knew what I was doing with it. And, so all of a sudden, I mean, I had some people that were selling to me for 50 silver where it was a gold before. This thing did not get a 50% drop in vendor value.
Right.
But people, dropped the price like crazy. And I made more gold after the price got nerfed. I mean, I wanted to send a thank you letter to Blizzard for nerfing the price of that, because less people were doing it. I didn't have competition for mats, and the mats were super cheap. And I couldn't believe it, just how people oh, yeah, the price is nerfed. Okay, that's gone. Well, did you look at how much it was nerfed and how much cheaper the mats are now? It's so, math is your friend.
Right. I've got my abacus set up over here. Yeah. Me, old school.
Right. Well, I hope this helps some of you identify some of the tools for gold making that weren't previously on your radar. And I did want to give a special thanks out to Bayou Billy for suggesting this topic. I think it was a really good one.
Yeah, and another thing he did suggest, we'll go into real quick. He was asking about setting up a Discord channel for Goblin Goldcast for people to, or like-minded people to gather and make gold or discuss things like that. And if that's something you'd be interested, or our listeners would be interested, please contact us and let us know. One thing to be aware of is my time zone. I mean, it'd be a great way for people to be able to get on and talk to each other, but I'm not sure how often Dex and I would be on.
Yeah, that's the only thing about it. I'm open to it as well, but we want to see if we've got enough people that are interested in it to where people can talk among themselves if we don't show up for an extended period of time, If we're able to pop on and people are on, that's great. We'd enjoy that as well. We just don't want to send a message that, hey, we're always going to be on this thing, pop on and, all day, all night, every day. That's really not how our lives are. People would be shocked to know how little I play. But, they know I'm into gold making. But a lot of people that are gold makers play for hours and hours and hours every day, and I just don't. So I'm really not on enough to be a constant host on something like that. But hey, I'm open to having a channel to where if we can get enough people together, we can go go have fun, run a dungeon, do something fun. Right,
people can help each other out, give each other gold making ideas. That's fantastic. Again, my biggest issue is I work nights. I get off midnight my time, which is about 1 a.m. Dex's time.
You know what we could do if we had this Discord server? If we could get enough people in it, we'd really need to have like 20 or 30 people in it at once. I don't know how well that would work. But if we were able to do that, we could have a contest. That would maybe be fun. I have a couple ideas. One of them I thought of, I could give away 1 million gold, and the competition could be the best slam on Mac. So whoever comes up with the best insult, the best slam on Mac, wins 1 million gold. And I'll get a couple of people together to judge it. Maybe myself, your wife. We'll find somebody else that wants a piece of that.
Yeah, thanks.
You like that idea? So, all right, I think you've had enough. Well, I think that's going to about wrap up this week's show. Why don't we tell everybody how they can get in contact with us?
Well, you can contact us at Mac, that's MAC, at GoblinGoldcast.com, or Dex, that's DEX, at GoblinGoldcast.com. You can contact us on Twitter at Goblin Goldcast, or you can visit us on Facebook.
And don't forget, you can leave us a voicemail on our website, GoblinGoldcast.com, and please subscribe to us on iTunes, Stitcher, or TuneIn Radio if you listen to us there.
And we'll see you next week.
Now go make some gold.
Can I interest you in a payment plan?